Hello and welcome to another Changing Social how-to video where today we're looking at the Microsoft Whiteboard application. There's lots of new features in the Whiteboard application. Also, the app is now surfaceable in Teams, so it gives you even greater collaboration capabilities with your colleagues. So here we are on a standard blank canvas and we have some settings up the top here. So there's three lines here, which sometimes people refer to as the burger. If we dive in here and look at some of the settings, we can set things up. One of the first things I generally tend to do is format my background. So if I dive in here, I can change different colors. I can select a yellow dotted background if I wanted to, or go back to my standard white squares that I normally use. Diving back in, we've got these four options that you can switch on and off here: active pen, ink to shape, ink to table, and object snapping, and I'll run through each of those. Essentially, active pen means that I can use my pen on the whiteboard as I see fit, and then I can also take my mouse and move that around as I would like to. If I then dive back in, ink to shape essentially means if I draw a nice neat square, it will snap to a square, and if I draw a circle, it will also snap to a circle, and in the same way a triangle will work too. So moving back into the settings, ink to table essentially means if I draw another square and I want to make that into a table, if I put a line through it, it will automatically recognize that as a table, and it means I can add columns or add rows as I see fit. I can move that around and then I can start to draw in this table, and you can see that it expands it accordingly. Let's just have a little bit of a tidy up. So the final feature that you can switch off and on is object snapping. Now if I make a quick copy of this square and copy and paste, and I start to move this square around, as you can see, when the square gets level with the other square to try and keep things nice and neat, your blue line appears, and that's essentially what object snapping is. In the same way as you sometimes get a line appear in PowerPoint where you get things in line, that's the object snapping feature in the whiteboard. Moving back to the settings, obviously we've been through some of these. Export, you can export it, you can post to Teams. Format background we've covered. Toolbar location essentially moves this toolbar around. Clear canvas is fairly self-explanatory, it will give you a black to a blank canvas. Accessibility checker, if we look in there, you can see that it's now checking this canvas for the drawings that I've got on it, and it will say whether or not there's alt text applied to each of those. So if I click on this one, it's asking me to make a description. So this is a square, and I can hit OK, and it will save that. And you can see now that there's two objects on this canvas. One of them is okay for accessibility, the other one isn't, so I would make those changes as required. So onto the main toolbar at the bottom, you can see that we've got the pen, and you can select the various different sizes of the pen you want, different colors. There's a highlighter pen here that I can use, and also a rubber if I need to rub things out too. There's also a ruler, so I would toggle the ruler off and on, and you switch it off and on here, and then if you go back to your pen, you can draw a line in and make a nice straight line, and you can also move it around and put another straight line as you see fit, and then you can toggle that back off. Moving on to text, I can add text into my canvas if I need to, and then I can obviously move that around, and naturally, as you'd expect, you can change the color of it too. Here, moving along the toolbar, you've got the option to add sticky notes, and you can type in those, and you can even change the color of them. So you can change the color of them just by clicking on it, and it gives you this palette to change them here. One other feature to comment on is if you are actually writing on the canvas and you write freehand with a pen, if you click on it, you've got this magic wand at the top, and that's called ink beautification. So what it will do is I'll click on that, it will recognize that as a written word, and it will change it into something much more readable in my case. The last thing I want to show you here is the image menu. So if I click on image and I go to Bing Images, and say for example I was bringing in a drawing of some floor plans. So if I had some floor plans and I wanted to drag them in, I could select a floor plan, hit plus here and bring in that floor plan. I'll just tidy up over here, and you can see I've got a set of floor plans now, and I can make those bigger. One thing to note, obviously that is a digital drawing that I bought in from Bing. If I click on it, I've got this magic wand here that enables me to ink grab it. What it will do if I click on that is it will turn it actually into a line drawing. So it's gone from being a digital drawing into a line drawing, and I could in effect maybe remove some of that, add the pen, and perhaps put in an extension here if I needed to. It's really quite a nice feature. So thanks for watching. That covers my review of the Microsoft Whiteboard application. Thanks very much. See you again soon.